and Asad Baig. He's joining us live from Marjayoun in southern Lebanon. And Asad, we could see a lot of activity behind you before the sun set. Tell us about the Hezbollah commander who's been killed and the group's response.
Yes, this Hezbollah commander has been named as Mohammed Nima Nasser. Now, he was the head of the Aziz unit. Now, southern Lebanon is divided into 3 districts. He was responsible for one of those divisions. And he is a senior commander. Now, Hezbollah have released video footage of him partaking in an operation against Israeli forces back in 1999. So this is a senior commander with battleground experience. And Hezbollah's response has been to launch about 10 operations against Israeli targets, including 100 Katyusha rockets fired towards the Golan Heights. The Shiba Farms area has been targeted. Other military installations, barracks and technical sites have been targeted by Hezbollah. And it's been very, very busy over the last few hours. I can tell you that. We heard the sounds of the rockets taking off, and we could see them making impact on the Golan Heights. And by the time that we left that hilltop, we could see some of those fires still going on those hilltops. But Israel has also struck back, hitting the town of Khiam. But the real response has been from Hezbollah. As I said, the senior commander, and they say that their targeting of Israeli targets is within the framework of responding to this assassination. And I said it was a significant loss for Hezbollah to lose this commander. And it comes within a month of them losing another commander of another unit, Abu Talib, in an airstrike. And what it shows is that Israel is going deeper into Lebanon's airspace and targeting these individuals. The city of Tyre is just 83 kilometers south of Beirut. But there has been a serious escalation today, at least in Hezbollah's response to the assassination of this commander.
And Asad, in a possible sign of further escalation, Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has been speaking about sending more troops to the north.
Yeah, he's mentioned saying that the military can be moved, that they can reach a state of readiness, and they're targeting Hezbollah every single day. Now, this comes a day after the Deputy Secretary General of Hezbollah said that he didn't believe that Israel was ready to launch a war here in southern Lebanon. And he said that any agreement, any fighting that was going to be stopped here in southern Lebanon depends on a ceasefire in Gaza and the acceptance of that ceasefire by the resistance groups there. And he also said that if Israel was to launch an all-out war, a limited operation or a partial war, that Hezbollah would not be confined to the framework that Israel wants it to. Therefore, saying that Israel does not have a say of how Hezbollah responds and who will enter that conflict, who will enter this conflict in southern Lebanon, or whether it will be expanded or not. So, yes, there is some tough talk coming from both sides, and there has been an increased exchange of fire today.
Asad, thank you for that. That is Asad Baig with the latest live in Marjayoun in southern Lebanon. Israel is expected to go ahead with a massive land seizure in the occupied West Bank. This will bring the total amount of land taken by the state to a record 12.7 square kilometers this year and would make it the largest land grab in over 3 decades. That's according to settlement tracking organization Peace Now. Akiva Eldar is a political analyst and author of Lords of the Land, the War for Israel's Settlements in the Occupied Territories, and he's joining us live from Tel Aviv. Mr. Eldar, always good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. Firstly, your reaction to these reports. Are you surprised? Should we be surprised, given the makeup of this government?
Actually, I would be surprised if the settlers and their patrons in the Israeli cabinet would not do this at this time. They are masters in exploiting this kind of opportunities. The settlement movement had the greatest day after the 73 Yom Kippur War, when the Israeli public was shocked and was busy leaking its wounds of this horrible war. And this is what they're doing now. When we titled our book, Lords of the Land, we didn't imagine that 20 years later, this book was published 20 years ago, the leaders of this movement will be senior members in the Israeli inner cabinet. One of them is the Minister of Interior Police or National Security, and the other one is a minister in the Ministry of Defense and the Minister of Finance. So the message that actually the Israeli military and the Israeli Secret Service, the message that they are getting from the upper echelon is that this government wants to annex the territories,
Yeah.
and there is a semi-official policy of impunity.
And what is the message that they're getting from the international community, Mr. Eldar? Settlements are illegal under international law. Why have we seen a lack of action from the international community, and how much is that emboldening this Israeli government?
Yeah, actually, I followed a statement that came out from the British Foreign Ministry that was relatively strong and sent a clear message to the Israeli government. But with all due respect to the British government that will not probably last very long, we are looking, of course, at what's coming out of Washington. And as we know, the administration is very busy with domestic issues, with domestic politics. And on top of that, the media, the Israeli media and the international media is, of course, focusing on the war in Gaza and the escalation
and Mr. Eldar,
in
you know,
the
you did
north.
mention in your first answer that you would be surprised if the Israeli political establishment, this current government, wouldn't take advantage of this moment. You also mentioned the war on Gaza and the focus on that. Do you think that that is what's happening, that the Israeli government, that the settlers, everyone who supports them is taking advantage of the world's attention being on Gaza to annex Palestinian land?
Yeah, and some of those settlers that you just watched in the footage that you noted were yesterday in Gaza. They come back home with their personal weapons. Some of the officers that are deployed in the West Bank are settlers themselves. So, and when I mentioned Smotrich and Ben Gvir, those senior ministers, what they have in mind is Armageddon. They don't hide their aspiration to see ethnic cleansing in the West Bank. They don't believe that the Palestinians deserve a land, and what they are about is to put an end to the Oslo Agreement and to the two-state solution. And they also take advantage of the weakness of Netanyahu. The atmosphere now is catch as much as you can before this government will be brought down.
All
So
right.
Netanyahu depends on them, and he is offering them as much as he can to keep them in the coalition.
That is political analyst and author Akiva Eldar joining us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much for your analysis.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.